What up, YouTube? It's your girl, Darian Jenkins. Welcome to Attacking Third. I am joined by the victorious LaBonta from the KC Current, woo woo, and NWSL legend McCall Zerboni. We have a jam-packed show, lots to talk about. We're really going to get into the extra Week 9 takeaways with McCall and Lo. But before we get started, McCall, we saw you booted and zooted up this weekend, kicking around, giving people some hope. Was this for TST? How is it going? Give us all of the deets.
I dusted up those things, busted them out of the garage, gave them a little blow, and laced them up. No, it was great. I had a lot of fun, but it's honestly like a different game. 7v7 is wild. It is action packed. Like basically the whole time, your heart rate's at 180, like in the red zone. It's like 1v1s all over the field. You're just chasing each other, and it's like 1v1 battles everywhere. So it's high intensity, but they're subbing like hockey rules, like line changes. So you can like sub every 3 minutes. So you just go out there, burn it out, switch out, and like rotate. So it's a lot of fun. And it's going to be really entertaining to watch, I feel.
Yeah, I actually watched last year because my husband retired and then got called up and played with the Wrexham, and all their games were streamed. Yeah, shout out my husband. I don't know where he is, hasn't seen him, but whatever. But it was so cool because I was like, this is what I love in practice when we get into games like this, the subbing, the rules where sometimes you'd be down a player, like, when you get into extra time, teeing that up for later, and they start taking players off, the game gets so interesting. And on my team, I think you guys have both played with her, but Dabinia, we were like, hey, can we take like a mental break from KC Current and go play in this tournament? Like we would thrive, like bring Bia, like create your best 7v7 team. I got some of the best ballers on my team already. So we were like, hey, let's put together a team. And they're like, yo, you got an NWSL game. You're not going.
No, but that's how it is. You know how you play like on recovery days, whatever you play 7v7 or even match day -1. It's kind of like that, but you guys, the field is huge and there's no offside.
It's massive.
Yeah.
No offside. So people are just like standing on each end line. Like it's so stretched. The game is massive. It's crazy.
The cherry pickers. Nah, I couldn't do it. No offside. That's like my best friend. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. A forward stream. Why is all the fun stuff happening when I retire? I'm like, now there's a 7v7 tournament in Portugal. TST's live. Come on. But I get to be a fan on the side. So McCall, the bumpy pitches.
Bumpy pitch, baby.
Shout out to the bumpy pitches, guys. Follow along. I can't wait to see you play and rock it out. I know you're going to crush it. So if you're listening here on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, thank you for joining in and listening to us. Ladies, let's dive into the extra Weekend 9 takeaways. McCall, Lo and I had a really good conversation a couple weeks ago about the 5 minutes, the big moments, the big fives, as everybody calls them. But we're really seeing that now at the end of games this year. And that's something you wanted to talk about because Week 9 was crazy in some of the stoppage time.
Just like stoppage time is absolutely bonkers, especially this last weekend. We saw how vital it's becoming to be good at that. I think because VAR has been introduced in the last couple of years, so now a whole bunch of extra time is being added on, and it's a new skill that you need to add to your team and a mentality that you need to have to really push in those moments. And we'll see it go for 12, 13, 14 minutes. I mean, Lo, speak on it. What is that like as a player when you're like already dead and they throw up the sign?
So first off, this game, obviously we played Orlando and it was such a tactical battle, I think. And because, you have very, very similar teams and talents lining up against each other. So for me as a 6, I was defending a lot, shifting side to side. I was like, oh, we're 1 up. It's 87th minute. We got this. It gets to the 90th minute on the scoreboard, and I turn to half where you watch the 4th official lift up the sign. First off, when there were double digits on that thing, I was like, no chance are my calves gonna last this long. I was like, there's no way. Give me a hot shot. Give me a pickle juice. Give me a rub down, anything. And
no, because think about this. Most people can't even play soccer for 12 minutes, like at this high pace level. And that's like an additional 12 minutes to act already putting 90 underneath your body. It's crazy.
I think last season too, last season got really ridiculous because I feel like everybody figured out, let's have a goalkeeper go down 15 minutes in when things are going bad. And it added on so much time, but it ended up making teams play, I think, like an extra game almost at the end of the year.
Basically.
So I'm actually curious, Lo, with this, is that something you guys prepped? Like they talked about in the off season or going into preseason, or that changed your fitness at all?
I would say our fitness, more so like our loading and all that, our club does really well with that. I think we went into conversations with refs at the beginning of season as well. They're like, we're aware of this issue. We're keeping track of it. So it's crazy because for our game, at least, it wasn't VAR. We just had so many injuries and people going down. So it was like the usual stoppage time. It had nothing to do with VAR. So that was just hard, too, because people are clearly getting hurt. The game is going longer. Everybody was, there were clashes. If you guys watched the game, there were battles everywhere on the field. So at that point, it was so mental. It was be in your position, be there for your teammate to have their back. And it was, I said at the end of the game to my teammates, I was like, this is the best we've ever closed out a game because we have been in situations like this. We were in a situation against North Carolina earlier in the year, and we actually were up and we lost the game. So it was such a proud moment to have grown and learned how to play that game out and finish the game out and get the 3 points.
And not just your team. How about Spirit in Utah? That game was crazy. And I'm so happy for Casey Kruger to get that goal in 102 minutes. 102 minutes. To have the wherewithal to push and put in a stoppage time winner is insanity.
Defender to defender, too. I live for that. Well, mind you, McKeown was a forward, now center back. But still, she got there, got the ball in the box, and Casey finished it. And I had chills for them. I was like, I know how it feels at home in front of your fans. Like I said, now that I'm doing attacking third, I've become a fan of the sport of NWSL, and I'm seeing this and watching them. And I was like, how can you not get out of your seat and cheer for that moment?
No, and that's exactly it. So get this. So the home, shout out to the fans, because in stoppage time, the facts say that the home team gets more shots off and ends up with the win. So 62 shots for the home team are happening in stoppage time. So your crowd does matter. Your fans are making a difference. And it's just crazy to think that out of 108 shots in stoppage time so far this year in the NWSL, that 62 of those are made by the home team.
Shooter's going to shoot. Shoot
in front of their peoples.
I do need to say, though, on that note real quick, is that I think it's crazy to me where you see the mature team versus the the young blood, where there's times where you're in stoppage time, you need a goal, but people will still swing it, whereas the younger teams will just shoot. So I want to kind of dig into that sometime in the future and see the difference, because we call it upgrade the shots. You're not just getting the ball anywhere and just shooting it. You're getting it in, and that's what I think Washington Spirit did. They got it to the end line and got the cross in numbers in the box and finished it. So
quality
well
shots.
done there.
Yeah, the more higher percentage shot.
There's been 13 total goals scored in stoppage time so far this year, and we're only a quarter done. That's a lot of goals. That's not not the mentality let's just hang on for this tie or whatever. That's this is the time to push and go for it.
My body, did you just say we're only a quarter?
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
But shout out to Casey Kruger, because I think one of the best defenders and unsung heroes of the NWSL and the women's national team. The girl is truly ambidextrous. She's great going forward. She's probably the best 1v1 defender, but I really like the topic of thinking of how veterans deal with that the added time, stoppage time, whatever we're calling it. The veteran to veteran connection is really intriguing, because those rookies, you're right, they're I'll put the team on my back. I think we saw with Angel City even this weekend, where it was the rookies were just kind of shooting the shots, really low percentage. The teams that had more of the veterans were the ones that came out with the win. So I love that. But another big topic that's keeping teams kind of lower scoring this weekend for most teams was the goalkeepers.
That's
Lo, you wanted to give
I love that pun.
You wanted to give them some love. So go on, give the keepers some love.
Absolutely. And it's so funny. So I flew home yesterday or day before from Orlando, from our game. I had a soccer camp actually. And these kids were like, what's your favorite position to play? And obviously I said midfield, and I brought Coop with me, and they're like, what's your least favorite? And she was like, keeper. And I was like, the disrespect. You need keepers. They say defense wins championships. And first off, speaking of spirit, Aubrey got over 500 saves now. She just hit over 500 saves. I think it's like 520 after this game. And speaking of that game as well, with Mandy making a PK save against the GOAT of PKs, Ashley Hatch. Ashley Hatch going into that PK was 11 for 11. No one else in the league has been 100% from the spot. Oh, well, no, I take that back. Perry now. Perry, I think, is 3 for 3. Yourself. Oh, no, I'm not. I have there. Someone has saved, and I'll always remember the one that got saved against me. But Mandy, like the GOAT of PK, steps up to, I don't know if they were tied or she was going to take the lead and it was going to tie it up, but she made that save against Ashley and broke the perfect record. Like, no, she's the only one that can say she's ever done that. So kudos to that. But then the most kudos I want to give is to Lorena, my goalkeeper for KC Current. They were throwing Orlando was throwing numbers in the box. They were shooting, they were crossing. They had, it felt to me like 100 corner kicks in the last 15 minutes. And she came up and was big and got them all out of the air, helped us close out the game. I don't know where we would have been in that game without her. So again, yes, keepers, you get your kudos, especially from me, the smallest of them all. Shout out keepers.
Keepers need love too. I feel like keepers, they kind of get forgotten about, but it's been a fun evolution watching the game, playing in the game to now. Keepers have had to grow so much more, especially with their feet. I mean, NWSL has changed from being so transitional. A big part of that is, can your keeper pass a ball? Can your keeper break lines with a pass and be super, super on point?
Yes, they're like an additional center back in the modern game.
Yeah. Yeah, like Kaylin Sheridan is practically a sweeper for her team. Mandy is a sweeper for Utah as well. And honorable mention to Jordan Silkowitz from Bay, because I thought she stood on her head in that game. And what a way to deserve a shutout in a big moment like that. Did I miss anybody? Are we missing any keepers?
Well, no, but I think there's a bunch of other keepers.
Yeah, there's a bunch of others, but I want to lean into the U.S. now, right? Because we have a predicament with U.S. women's national team right now in the goalkeeper who's going to be the number one, right? So when you see Mandy McGlynn have a major moment like that, and then you think about tournaments like World Cup and Olympics, that's an enormously important skill to have as a goalkeeper for this nation, because when you go into penalty shootouts in those major tournaments, to see your keeper have big moments like that, it's so valuable. So now she's got an edge, whereas before her distribution out of the back was a little bit shaky. It makes us worried, especially when goals are so hard to come by on the global stage. But if she can make good saves like that in big moments on pens and just standing on her head at the end of the game, amazing.
Well, then justice for Aubrey. Is it Bledsoe now or Kingsbury? I always forget.
Kingsbury. Yeah.
Kingsbury. Oh, that's $5.
All these name changes, I know.
Yeah, everybody got married. Everybody's pregnant.
Well, even Mandy's last name has changed as well. So it is so hard to remember.
Tricky.
Yeah.
It's tricky. But justice for her, because I think she has been such a great goalkeeper. She's been one of those that have always been great with their feet. She saved 3 penalties last year in the semifinals. Come on. So I think that goalkeeper position for the U.S. national team, is sorry, McCall. Damn, sorry. My bad, forgot. That was a good one. My bad. But she kept them in the game. Ultimately, you guys were playing really well, but you just can't get far without keepers. And I think she deserves a call up to the national team. And I'm shocked she hasn't gotten that yet.
Yeah, I want to know the last time she got called up. And also I'm just thinking too, where you're saying keepers for this team now will have to be good with their feet. That's such a hard talent to try and improve in games, because if you try and play the ball and it's not exactly on your player that you're trying to, that's a counter the other way. And that has happened. That has happened to Mandy. That's happened to Sheridan, and Sheridan, obviously Canadian national team player. But you can't really work on those in games without being perfect. And so that's, you know, I think credit to Mandy. She still tries to play, and Jordan as well. They still are trying to play these balls. And sometimes teams do capitalize on a mistake, but that I wonder how the US Emma looks at that with, you know, they're like, hey, they're trying to do what I asked them to do. That's,
but I'm also like, okay,
me?
McGlynn has such a good foot. She can literally nail a ball 60 yards.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's times where I'm like, don't like putsy with the ball in 10, 20 yards.
She tries to go beast mode in the 18.
Especially because you're having a hard time scoring goals when you're Utah. Like, it takes so much effort for you guys to build up the field. Why don't you just have like a cheat code with your 60-yard ball when you're under pressure? Just put it up there, let your speedies run. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's a hack that she needs to lean into more and just get pressure off of them and get into that attacking third earlier by releasing those balls, because she has that ability in her locker. She has a really good foot, you guys.
Yeah, she's super impressive. I'm interested to see this roster drop with the U.S. Women's National Team coming very soon, y'all. So tune into 8-3 for that, because we will definitely have a reaction. Another reaction, though, a team that's done with really well with the pressure of the season, San Diego Wave. My biggest takeaway is I am so impressed by them week in, week out. We've seen the Kimi Ascanio. She's 17 years old, 3 goals in 4 games. You have Delphine Cascarino balling out. Moroni, Kenza Dali, Savannah McCaskill has come back to life with this team. I feel like we almost haven't seen her be herself in the last 2 seasons. I don't know if that's, you know, the team shoes on, the environment, whatever, but I love seeing a coach like Jonas Eideval come in and reset expectations of this team, because they were dealing with front office stuff. Gurma, Dahlkemper left, all of these really big players. Alex Morgan retired. I mean, it's a lot of turnover. So I had such low expectations, but now they're sitting in second place behind KC Current, shout out Low, with 17 points. But they just look like such a strong team, and they're going up against tough competition and taking them down. I mean, they beat Gotham, who are in a slump, but still, it's not an easy place to go play at away at Sports Illustrated, and took it home. So have you guys been just as impressed with San Diego as I have been?
Absolutely. And I think, I don't know if I've said it in an earlier podcast, but I have been so impressed with them, because also, like, same, I don't know if I had low expectations, but I don't know if I had expectations, because it was a lot of new players, a new head coach. So you kind of usually give people grace in that aspect. But they've taken it and they've run with it, and they look like they're enjoying each other and they're enjoying playing. Like, I'll see that tiki-tack out there and I'm like, oh, wow, that team looks like traffic cones out there. Like, I don't want to be in that scenario at all against them. And when you can tell when they're feeling it too. So I've been so impressed, and look, I'm glad, because now they're in second. So they're clearly doing great, and they're getting points on the road as well, not just at home. But yeah, I'm very impressed, and I'm happy too, because I want my Cali teams to do well. I want my Cali organizations to do well, and it's just great for the league too.
Yeah, I think their brand of style is really appealing. And I mean that not only for the fan watching, but also for players all over the world to be like, okay, I want to go play for that team, because they value possession. I feel like this past year, we've kind of gotten away from valuing possession. It's a very transitional, fast-paced, youthful, go forward as fast as you can every single time kind of mentality. But San Diego is like moving the ball around, picking apart their opponent, just toying with them with the ball in their possession. And it's really, really enjoyable to watch. And especially if that's your strength, right? Like, if you're a technical player who reads and understands the game very well, not necessarily the fastest or the quickest, you're going to fit into a San Diego kind of style. And it's appealing to go play there or to be a fan of their club.
It's also fun to watch players like Ascanio. I mean, she has Maria Sanchez on her left. She has Cascarino on her right, a stacked midfield behind her. She's only 17. Can you imagine being 17 years old and going to play for a team like that? I mean, Lo, actually, you have players around you that are that young. McCall, last year you did too. I mean, I can't imagine how much when you're that young, you get to pick up from being around players like that.
And I wonder too, like the confidence that her and encouragement her teammates are giving her. So I think Alyssa Thompson said the other day that press believed in her. So that made her believe in herself even more. So I wonder for Ascanio, who is that for her? And whether she has it or not, the team is playing well. She's doing amazing. Again, her third game in a row.
Great goal.
Unreal goal. Like out 17 out. I never even knew what the outside of my foot was. Are you kidding me? That is unreal that she has that. And just the swag she had after she celebrated that goal. She was like the sway a little. I was like, this is someone to watch out for. And I'm happy for her.
I definitely have the wave in the playoffs, and I think they're going to be in the semifinal as well. I really because you know what? Idabal, he values technical players who understand the game and big games and big moments who can apply their skill and handle themselves in those moments. They also have a lot of international experience and just a lot of experience in general. So those moments won't spook them when they head into the playoffs.
We're seeing them go on this just like upward trajectory. Like each game, I think they get better and better. And McCall, the audience agrees with you. 56% say Wave can win it all, and 46% say deep playoff run. I'm gonna ride with the deep playoff run. I'm not. I don't know. Casey Curran's looking pretty good, and I'm not saying that just because Lowe's here. I listened to the show yesterday, y'all. I gave Kansas City some love because that was the most fun game I've watched between the two, where it's like big growth from Orlando and Kansas City from last year as far as it went tactically. I think defensively, which was really fun to watch. But okay, I'll shut up, y'all. This was a really fun show. I
was like, keep hyping me up.
Yeah. I give Casey so much love. I love y'all. But this was a really fun show. Big week 9 takeaways. We have more and more Attacking Third fun continuing tomorrow, 11 a.m. with Sandra, McCall, and Lisa Carlin here on YouTube. You don't want to miss it. Thank you all for tuning in, whether you're listening as a podcast or here on YouTube. From Lo, McCall, Lorena, I'm Darian Jenkins. This was Attacking Third.